Roski and Aaron, VC Playmakers are back. It's March 31st. April Fool's Day is tomorrow. You guys gonna pull any pranks?
Good
Well,
thing
I can't tell you about it, and you'll know.
Well, you can tell me because you wouldn't pull a prank on me, but
Or will I?
wow.
There
Yeah,
you
good
go.
question.
I completely forgot about it, to be honest. If you don't remind me, I'll probably fall for some pranks tomorrow.
Listen, I know a couple people that were born on April Fool's Day. That's I imagine they got a lot of jokes, pranks throughout their lifetime.
Probably.
It's almost as bad as me. I was born February 29th, so I only have a birthday every few years.
Were you really or no?
Leap year.
He's also 55, Roski, so
It's true.
Well, I know his actual age now. I found out.
He won the bet like a gentleman.
Hey,
okay.
and like a gentleman, I have not said to anybody what your actual age is. So
I appreciate it. You just got what you wanted, then never talk to me again.
Only for the pod.
Strictly
That's it.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah, strictly business.
Once a week, and we hook up, and then that's it.
That's it.
Well, let's see how far we get today. We'll talk about a few more signings, some impacts. Maybe we'll get to the NFLPA team rankings. A lot of surprises there. Some, what is it, Aaron? UFL proposed rules.
UFL, but not
Oh, yeah.
proposed, implemented this time.
Implemented rules. Yeah, we'll there's some interesting ones in here that we'll NBA Jam style talk about those, and then we got a few more surprises up our sleeve. But what do you guys think? Max Crosby was going to the Ravens, and then next thing you know, I thought it was a joke that it falls through, and Ravens just kept on going and signed their rivals' stud defensive end, Trey Hendrickson. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I've look. I'm gonna say this, and as if I were a GM for another team, I would definitely be very hesitant about trying to do any trades with the Ravens. I mean, you go from agreeing to a trade, right? It's a block versus trade, and I feel, and this is my personal opinion, you guys can have your own opinion, but I feel like they just were nitpicking to find any little thing to say, hey, we can't sign him. We can't take on Max Crosby. We don't
Like
give him a
buyer's
picks back.
remorse?
Yeah. And I think it was the moment they realized they had a shot at Trey Hendrickson. I think they felt that maybe the market for him was going in another direction. But then it was like, and I don't know if you guys saw anything, but I didn't hardly saw anything for Trey Hendrickson. It was really quiet. So I think the fact that they saw that it was really quiet and they said, hey, we got a shot at him. Let's nitpick any little thing we can find with Crosby, which obviously everybody knew he had surgery. Everybody knew he was recovering. So now it's, okay, let's find nitpick. They saw any little thing. You know what? We can't go through with it. They canceled the trade. And then, I mean, what a coincidence. The next day they signed Trey Hendrickson. I don't know. To me, I would be very, very hesitant on making any deals with the Ravens because I just can't trust them anymore. I can't trust that front offense, but that's my thought. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, what were the other ones they did? Because they bowed out of other trades as well, right? So now it's a pattern with them.
Yeah, it was a few years back. I can't remember the exact trade, but it's a pattern now. Like, I mean, you have two. I think even one prior to that, there was another sort of deal in the same mix. I don't know if it was a free agent that they just backed out on, but I mean, you have a pattern, and they keep doing this. So, as a GM from another team, like, are you going to take them serious now? Like, are they going to find any little thing to back out of the deal? I mean, to me, it's just, I don't know. I think it's not right. And I do, and I know we talked about it in the original episode when we talked about the canceled trade before the signing of Hendrickson, but they need to come up with some sort of system that says, hey, you have maybe an independent doctor, a doctor from the NFL that says, we're going to evaluate. And if we concur with what you're saying or what the team doctor is saying, then okay, we will cancel the trade. But if we see that there's, progression, it's just a normal, part of the healing process, then they should be obligated to either go through with the trade or say, okay, you want to back out of it, you're still going to lose the first round, for example, in, one of the picks you're sending back the other way. I just feel like because there's no repercussion, they just decided, okay, we're going to pull it and that's it. And now the Raiders are stuck with Crosby, which they've been able to make it work. But now the market for him has diminished, right? Now people aren't, or teams aren't going to trade 2 first rounders. Now you're talking about a first and a second, maybe, but nobody's pulling the trigger now. You could see it. Nobody's willing to take on Crosby now because, and maybe the Raiders just hold that expectation of the 2 first rounders, but I mean, it's not. I don't think he's moving. I think he's staying in Vegas, but yeah.
Well, my favorite part was the leadership when they came out from the Ravens. We're like, oh, well, our ultimate goal was to get Hendrickson and Crosby, but it's just so unfortunate that the evaluations came back negative, so we couldn't go through with our ultimate plan. But let's just say this: would you rather have Max Crosby or Hendrickson with 2 first-round picks?
Honestly, Hendrickson.
Which one sounds better there?
Yeah.
But yeah, bunch of cowards, and they were just getting absolutely cooked in the media by podcasts like this one for trading 2 first-round picks for an injury-prone player, and they got cold feet and backed out. The NFL should really step in and do a little slap on the wrist for, hey, free agency or signing period wasn't even open yet, and all of this was already out in the open, agreed to, and then recanted before it even was allowed. What are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, or just release it completely. Just like, hey, there is no memorandum, a period where you can't talk and none of that nonsense because we all know what's going on behind the scenes anyway. So, honestly, smart on the Ravens. I mean, I'll say this. Like, if I'm the Rams and the Ravens have a player I want, I'm going to do business with them, right? You have what I want. I don't care if you're a shady person or not. If I'm going to get what I want, and if you want something from me, then I'm going to get the resources back that I want from you. So at the end of the day, everyone says, oh, shame on you, Ravens, but they've done it before. They won't do it for another 5 years. They'll do it again. And like, oh, remember they did that before with Crosby and someone else who was it? Yeah, exactly. So, they came out like G's on top. So good for them.
Hey, Chris, this sounds like somebody that drafted 2 Ravens players in the fantasy draft.
It definitely
This is my copium right here.
He's hoping to draft Hendrickson next.
And there you go.
When the season comes up. I mean, it'll be interesting to see who gets the last laugh because, were the Ravens trying to punk the Raiders? Like, oh, yeah, go spend all your money and now try to figure it out with Max. But I mean, they still signed everybody that they were linked to. So, they had a lot of money to spend. Yeah, I go back to because I can see both sides of it. The buyer's remorse, like you said, they knew he was hurt. I forgot he was hurt. They knew he was hurt. They're up on that. Gave up a ton. But what if Hendrickson gets hurt in preseason and Max Crosby breaks the sack record and is MVP of the league? Just be interesting how this all unfolds. And I do wonder, because of how they handled things, I'd be super reluctant to trade with them, maybe for the 5-year rule like Aaron's talking about. But I'm like, why am I going to waste my breath only for we're going to come up with this cool trade and then you're going to pull the rug out from under me where I could have traded for somebody else. I don't know. The draft's coming up, so it'll be interesting to see if they trade draft picks with anybody to move up, move back. But yeah, we'll see. But that would have been, Hendrickson and Crosby, talk about going all in. It's like we think our windows now and they have some other stud coming back from injury. I can't remember his name, but he was hurt last year. So you could have a rotation of like 3 excellent pass rushers. Maybe I'll play Madden football and draft that team. Yeah, right, right. And Hendrickson has some injury history. I think he's on the young side of 30. I don't think he's in his prime like he was, but I'd still love to have him on the Niners. Tell you that much.
Yeah. And like Aaron said, you have him and your 2 first rounders now. So, that's gold. Yeah, I see that. But I see it from the other side, right? And the fact that they backed out is not the first time. It's a history of this sort of same situation happening. So how far can you go before either the NFL steps in or, you just stop dealing with the Ravens, So.
And does the NFL like it? Because it keeps them in the news.
That too. It could be.
Maybe that's the conspiracy. They're behind it.
Hey, could be it.
We're going to get people talking about us.
We had talked about it before, but the NBA used to be the off-season. That was my favorite part about the NBA, honestly, was the off-season trades and rumors and all that. Now the NFL's taking it over. Like, this has been gold for them. So
yeah, for sure. I'll have to say some other signings that very few people. I didn't hear anyone talking about this on ESPN, watching podcast. But it tapped into some nostalgia for me. So when I was a kid, Niners are my team. Tom Rathman was the fullback for the 49ers, number 44. He could block like a beast. He could catch. They used him as a weapon. He just was, I think he had a flat top. He just was a tough guy there protecting Joe Montana. He could pick up the block. And then when he retired and moved on, they drafted a kid named William Floyd, number 40. Loved that guy. The fact that I remember these guys' numbers can tell you. And I'm like, I've always been a bigger guy. So I'm like, I'm not Barry Sanders. I'm this guy that can block. I'm this bigger guy that can block. And so, playing football, number 40 when I was in high school, because I'm like, oh, William Floyd, bar none was his nickname. But then you saw this transition to more of a passing league, and so you rarely saw fullbacks. The Ravens had Juszczyk, goes over to the Niners, and you'd have them sprinkled in. But now, John Harbaugh had Patrick Ricard, fullback in Baltimore, but he brings him over to the Giants. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler. And, I mean, it looks like they're going to go power running with Cam, Scattaboo, and whoever else is back there, with Ricard leading the way. Reggie Gilliam signs with the Patriots. He's a big, powerful run blocker too, but the saying is he's going to help protect Drake May because he can pick up the pass rush. And then the Chargers re-signed Alec Ingold. So, Jim Harbaugh likes to run the ball. So both Harbaugh boys, old school, have fullbacks on their team. 49ers still have Juszczyk. But kind of curious, impact fantasy-wise, Giants, Patriots, Chargers. I think the Jets brought a fullback back too, but it's the Jets, so why talk about them? Does that up how early you would draft some of the running backs on those teams, knowing they got a fullback, so it looks like they're going to go more of a rushing attack?
I think the most interesting one there is Scattaboo. Like,
yep,
he was starting to cook, and the commission gave me some great advice.
Popping off.
Yeah, snag that up. And my season literally ended when he ended, which was unfortunate. Yeah. But like, I don't know where he would go. I mean, obviously it's going to help him in his position, but like, where would he get drafted coming off a gruesome injury? Honestly, I don't even know if he's ready for day one.
He broke his leg, right? Like it was broken bones.
Yeah. I'm pretty, or like was it crazy dislocated or broken?
I think he broke his leg.
Yeah, like, it was nasty. I remember seeing that.
I was gonna say ankle, but I think that was Tyreek Hill. I think he's the one that broke his ankle. But yeah, that's the interesting one. I don't think he's gonna be ready for the opening of training camp and the season. But I mean, he's the one that had the most promise, and I do agree with what you said, Aaron. As soon as he went down, your season went down because you were. Yeah. I was about to face you, and I was like, "Oh man, that's popping off at the wrong time." So, but yeah, then he got hurt, and that's unfortunate. But I do think that what the Giants are doing is solid. They're probably going to sign a running back somewhere or draft a running back, which would be kind of scary if you think about it. That's another possibility, if they draft Love. I mean, you got a 1-2 punch there, and obviously
Scattaboo and Love and a fullback. Woo!
That would be crazy scary. But I do think there is some fantasy impact as far as the running back position. Obviously, I think all those teams take a boost because, you have good protection. You have guys that could kind of lead the way. So I don't know how high I would take any of the running backs, but I would definitely look their way. I think sooner than years past. I do think they all have good running backs. The only ones that I would be a little bit hesitant on is, again, the Giants, just because I don't know if Scattaboo's going to be back on time, and if not, who's going to be taking the bulk there. I don't even know who's all the other running backs right now on their team. They still have
Devin Singletary's there, I think, right?
Okay.
He was there last year?
Was he? Didn't he? I don't know why I felt like he moved. I feel like he moved. But what's the other guy they had? He was...
See that on Giants.
Oh, my God.
Depth chart.
Yeah, there was the other guy. What's his name? Cambolier is...
because he was a rookie 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Man, I had him in fantasy in a couple leagues as a rookie.
Me too. And I can't remember his name.
Tyrone Tracy or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know he can kind of carry the load for a bit, but he's not that guy. He's not that number one. He would be a good compliment, but to start the season, I would be hesitant to draft him if he was their number one, but I think as I would draft Scattaboo. I think, not necessarily high up there, but I would have him to, stash because he's going to come back. And at some point, and we saw what he can do. And I don't think he will take a step back. I think if anything, he's going to be ready to rock and roll once he's healthy. So
he gets drafted, you say?
I think he gets drafted for sure.
Dak Prescott went undrafted in our league.
Well, add in George Pickens over there, and that maybe as a different offensive coordinator, they unlock something over there in Dallas offensively.
Mm-hmm.
But Giants, it's Cam Scatterboo, Tyrone Tracy Jr. They describe him as a speedy option who often leads in rushing yards. Devin Singletary's still there. And then they have a kid named Eric Gray. Man, I could see them drafting, and unless they go defense or offensive line, I could see them drafting Love. And Scatterboo. Ooh.
That would be scary.
Yeah. And then Malik Neighbors is going to come back,
Yeah.
Now, what about Patriots? So you have Ramondre Stevenson, and then you have Travion Henderson. It was tough because I was so high on Henderson. I thought he was going to take the job because of Stevenson's fumbling. I drafted him as my second running back in my 14-team league. He did nothing in the beginning, eventually started doing stuff, but it was hard to, who's going to get the carries? Who's going to get the touchdown? And so if the Patriots do that again, Henderson, unfortunately, will drop for me. And I wasn't even going to draft Stevenson, but he had a pretty good year based on what I thought he was going to do.
He had a great year doing terrible as Henderson was doing amazing for Chelsea. Like, I'm just like, what is going on here? It was awful. Yeah, he's on the do not draft list. Sorry, buddy.
Well, I drafted Stevenson, and that's because I was desperate for running backs because I prioritized obviously wide receiver. I stacked on the tight end position. I did anything but look at the running back position, honestly.
And the Jets quarterback. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, and Mr. Fields over there. That's how he's going to run the ball. That's how I'm not going to worry about running backs. But yeah, I think that's the only situation where I'd be very nervous to draft any of those guys. But I do think Henderson eventually will take over. I just don't know and can't trust enough to say that he's going to take over from week 1 right now. But obviously, if we start seeing, different improvements here throughout training camp, preseason, obviously preseason doesn't really give you a good sample. I mean, we saw what happened with Bill, right? Bill in the Commanders, he did really well in the preseason, but then come the season, he was not that great when he had the opportunities, except for one game. So I think the Patriots would be the only one where I'd be a little bit more scared and nervous to do. But I'm kind of on the same boat as Aaron. I obviously, again, I drafted Stevenson. I dropped him obviously because I was tired of waiting on him to pop off. Henderson took a lot of touches in midseason, so I don't know. It's a situation I can't trust yet. But if I had to choose between either of those two, I think I would take Henderson because there's more upside. And like you said, there's fumbling issues with Stevenson's unknown thing, and I just think Henderson's safer long term. But yeah, Stevenson I think is on my do not draft list as well.
I really couldn't figure out who was going to get the touches in New England because having Henderson being an owner, I was paying attention to carries and just being on the field, and it was hard to figure that out because Henderson would be going off and like, okay, man, I'm going to ride him the rest of the season, and then Henderson's getting the touchdown. So I mean, it felt like they were like flipping a coin. Came up Stevenson again. Get back out there. Now, what about, I want to say San Diego. I know they're not San Diego, but the Chargers and Marion Hampton. I was high on that kid too, but he got hurt.
I mean, I think he's going to take over. I do think he was playing solid up until he got hurt. Obviously, when he came back, I don't think he was fully healthy. So I'm interested to see what he does with a rest, a full training camp, and now learning from his experiences in year 1. I do think he's gonna. I think that's his backfield. Honestly, I do think he's gonna be the starter, and it's his to lose. And if he does lose it, I mean, that's when he's not the guy. But I do think it's his to lose. But I don't know. I guess similar situation where it's like I don't know enough to say that I would draft him where I would draft him right now. I think maybe I would take 1. If he's my running back 2, maybe I think I'd be okay with it. But if he's my top running back, yeah, Yeah, second round, right? I think that's safe. A mid to late second round, I think would be good. Depending, obviously, because we saw a lot of running backs go off the board pretty quick in our draft last season. So if that happens again, I would probably look earlier to take somebody, because I learned from my mistakes last season, and running back is pretty important to draft in our league. But also, like I said before, I'm just always scared because of the injury proneness there is to the position. So, but I think, yes, a solid second rounder, I think would be good.
If all three are healthy, they all have fullbacks, and we know they're the starting running back, what's your ranking for Travion Henderson, Cam Scatterboo, and Omarion Hampton?
I think this is easy. I think Aaron and I are going to agree.
I think we're not going to agree, but the obvious answer is we would agree. So I'll go first.
We're not going to agree.
Because I think mine would be Capri McDaniel, followed by Scatterboo, and then whoever. I don't care. But like, I really think that OC going to the Chargers is going to really open up their offense a lot. I mean, what he did with Tua.
I forgot. I thought you were talking about Josh McDaniel for a second. I'm like, what's this thing with McDaniel? Oh, it's Mike. My bad. Brother from another mother right there.
Seriously, though, like what he did with Tua and that entire offense over there, I think he's going to do some wonders for what the Chargers got in their weapons. So, like, I think Herbert at running back, tight end play, like, those are going to be some key pieces to be picking up that you could probably grab later in the round, because people won't really be looking at them as top tier items.
So you're going Capri's, that's Omarion Hampton, it's OC, Cam, and then Henderson, the other McDaniels as the OC, McDaniel.
I'm surprising you, Aaron. Scatterboo, I think if he's healthy, I could see him popping off and being one of the top running backs in obviously fantasy wise, and even for the league potentially. But if he's healthy, that's the big if, and I don't think he's going to be healthy right off the bat. So what Aaron's saying right now, yes, I think that's accurate. But if you're looking at the big picture and they're all healthy in a perfect world, I think Scatterboo's number one, followed by Hampton, and then Henderson as well. Again, Henderson, he didn't prove enough. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing with Hampton, but they did, the hiring of Mike McDaniel, I think is big, is crucial too, because he got to a super max contract. We saw that. And he lasted, 2 more seasons, a season and a half, because he got benched, right? So, I mean, that shows you everything. I mean, unless he revives his career in Atlanta, which could happen, but unless that happens, then, I mean, Mike McDaniel's a mastermind. He's a magician, But I think Scatterboo is, when we're saying healthy, I think he's number one right now, if he's healthy.
So I'm going Hampton too. That I think he's gonna. There's not a equivalent second guy that has the skill set. I think Vidal played great, so I think he's going to be a good complementary piece. But I think Hampton is going to get the lion's share, and then they'll spell him with Vidal. I almost am like flip a coin between Henderson and Cam, but I'm gonna go Henderson, because I think second year he's going to improve on his pass blocking, and he's more explosive. So I think they're going to use him more often. I think Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator too. They'll get creative with him. My only knock on Cam Scatterboo is he plays like a bull. And so I just worry about him. And Jackson Dart are like the same player, but just different positions. And they're just like testosterone. I'm going to run you over. And oh, shoot, I hurt myself when I ran you over. Love to watch him play, and would be happy to have him. But I think that's why it's close, but I'm going to go Travion Henderson over Cam Scatterboo.
Yeah, he's just looking for contact.
He's just looking to hurt somebody.
Yeah. And if it's not the other team, it's just himself, as long as someone gets hurt.
He's like Bam Bam from the Flintstones. I mean, that's probably what it would.
One of those guys that he'll rush by somebody, and just for the shits and giggles, he goes and runs into somebody.
Oh yeah, he's not going out of bounds. That's not. Dude, you weren't even in the play, but I thought I could do a good block. All right, let's sticking with the Giants. We talked about Cam and Patrick Ricard going over there. They also made some little, not as flashy signings for the offense. They're bringing over Baltimore Ravens tight end Isaiah Likely, and then bringing over two receivers, Darnell Mooney from the Falcons and Calvin Austin III from the Steelers. Does that float your boat at all? Kind of what are you thinking they're doing offensively?
Well, I mean, for Darnell Mooney, right now they don't have a clear number 2, right, at wide receiver. Darnell Mooney is not him, obviously. I don't think he's, um, I don't think he's a number 2. I think maybe he could be a steady number 3 in a good offense, which I think the Giants could have. The one that was surprising to me was Isaiah Likely, but I could see, because obviously coming from Baltimore, I'm sure Harbaugh really wanted to bring him over, and I think he gives a good tight end set with Theo Johnson, because he came alive last season with Jackson Dart. So I think it's a good, you can't just look away from the tight end position type of deal, because you have one and now you got another. So whichever one comes in, it's pretty solid. So I think it was smart, but I kind of questioned it a little bit, because I do think Theo Johnson was kind of popping off. And if they're going to do that whole thing they did with, Andrews and Likely, fantasy wise, that's going to suck, because you're not going to know who to roll with, because who's going to get the touchdown, who's going to get the big plays. It's going to be kind of like
once. The hot hand, you get him, and then he does nothing for you.
Exactly. So fantasy wise, that's where I'm like, kind of sucks, because Theo Johnson was pretty solid last year.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the best, but I mean, we've seen tight end positions are difficult to come by and to have solid play for in fantasy. So I thought Theo Johnson could be like a safe sort of, middle type of ground, tight end. So you don't have to worry too much about the position. But now it's like, I don't know who to trust when it comes to fantasy. But I like what they're doing on the football side of things. And if we're just talking football, I like those moves. Mooney's a little like, whatever, but I think he could be a good number 3. Now, if he's your number 2, I'm sorry, but no, it's not going to do much for their offense. But yeah.
Based on what they have right now, in terms of a depth chart, they have Neighbors, number 1, obviously. And then 2 is Mooney, 3 is Darius Slayton. And then they got Calvin Austin. Don't even have him ranked, but I know he can be a return guy too. And they have Isaiah Hodgins, which he's had decent games when everyone's hurt. But I think Mooney and Slayton are both the same, very similar. Are they a 2 or a 3? They're probably both 3s.
Yeah.
How about you, Aaron?
Well, I have a thought for the Giants, but I'll let Aaron go first, and then I can ask you guys before we move all away from the topic.
No, I mean, I'm not super impressed with the wide receivers. I can see them doing some Bash Bros style Roski, fun 2 tight end set stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
They're going, Harbaugh, he's making a stamp and trying to go all in and deplete the guys he liked from Baltimore, and then really make a splash. So they're going to have a favorable schedule this coming up year. Until this is his time to really strike. So we'll see. I really think it's going to be all dependent on Stataboo, personally, and then obviously Jackson Dart, and the rest of it will fall into place if those 2 are doing their thing. So we'll see. 2 guys who like to look for contact injury prone at the most important spots. They'll be high risk, high reward spots to draft this year. It'll be interesting to see where those 2 end up. Both probably like backups. I wouldn't want either one as your 1.
No.
Yeah.
Hi, Roski. What's that Giants take?
So I don't know if you guys have seen, they had the whole flag football thing where Team USA played, some NFL guys. I think Tom Brady played, but one of the guys that played, which I know kind of mentioned off the podcast, was OBJ. And OBJ popped off. Obviously, again, it's flag football. It's different. There's not the same, plays, not the same tempo, is not, but he shined. I think they've been asked Team USA players who were they most impressed by, and everybody said OBJ, basically. And OBJ has openly flirted with the thought of going back to the Giants. So my question to you guys is, if OBJ returns to the Giants, obviously he's not number 1 anymore. he would be considered like the quote unquote number 2 if he's where he really is, like considering how well he did in flag football, and that translated into the NFL, and he would easily be a number 2 guy. What do you guys think of the Giants now? If OBJ actually comes back, he's healthy enough to be a number 2, ease some of the pressure from neighbors, so he could kind of stay a little healthy because he's been obviously, coming back from injury. But what do you guys think of that move? If again, and I guess we could just pose that as in general OBJ, because I was thinking if he's healthy and he's good enough to play as like a number 2 guy. But overall, what do you guys think? You guys buying into the OBJ hype going back to the Giants or no?
I can't say that I am. I watched some of the flag football, and I mean, I guess he cooked in a game where you are penalized if anyone touches you. So I'm not sure how well that'll translate to men's football. But I mean, I can't say that I know too much about his shenanigans in the locker room and off the field anymore. I know earlier on in his career, like any wide receiver, he had a bunch of drama.
Just a diva.
Yeah, like if he could bring some leadership qualities to a team that, like the hype is still real with him. Like they'd be like, oh shoot, we got OBJ, and like his following, his fame and celebrity would be fun in the locker room potentially. But if you're relying on him to help you win games, I mean, you're as smart as Cleveland. I mean, that is just not a recipe
who
for
he played for.
Winning. Exactly.
That is true. That's how you meant.
Yeah, I mean,
man.
it's been a long time since we've seen productive OBJ. Dude, he was a total stud. Highlight reel every time he went out there. My son loved him. How many years do we have to go back? My son ended up with the Cleveland Browns Odell Beckham Jr. jersey. Like, how many years ago is that? Is that 7 years? I mean,
Like
my son was a little
7-8
boy.
years, yeah.
So, I mean, if he agreed to the veteran minimum, sure, why not take a flyer on him? I think it'd be cool for Giants, like, OBJ's back in the building. If he's matured, if he can be a leader, I think those are good points. But I mean, I wouldn't be paying top dollar to him.
Oh yeah, no,
and
I think if he
the other thing too is, I heard this interview. They were talking about the flag football, and it was interviews after the game. But I heard it this morning. Is Sean Payton was being interviewed. He coached the team, and he just was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a totally different game." He was like, "I was completely out of my league. Basically, they outcoached me, and it's just a different game." And he's like, "I'll be surprised if there's very many NFL players on that are playing flag football, just because it's." It's football, but yeah, it's very different. Yeah.
Hey, and the players did warn. They did warn the NFL guys. It's not the same, and here we are. Sorry, Aaron. Go ahead.
No, I was just say, like, I mean, I watched some of the games because, I'm a patriot at heart, and I don't mean a football team. I mean an American patriot. So I had to see how USA performed.
There you go.
but like. It's like parkour mixed with throwing a football. It has very little to do with football itself. When you see the moves that they're making, like dropping the one knee, and then it's all about the art of grabbing that flag. The second you grab a shirt too, which is like the instinct of NFL, boom, you're flagged. And so like you just see those penalties over and over and over again. And like these guys there's artists out there with their flag manipulation, and then the 2 quarterback sets and all that type of stuff. Like it is a whole different game.
OBJ though, hey, it will be a headline if it goes back to the Giants for sure.
Yeah, and if he signs, it will be for the minimum. I just cannot see the Giants making a move to sign him with a pretty big contract. It would probably be the minimum for sure.
Right.
It would be interesting though, because I think as long as Justin Jefferson really is interested in it, but didn't play this time, but like this is the only opportunity really for NFL players to represent their country and get that gold medal, right? Like.
True.
So, I mean, these other athletes have dedicated not their life, but like their career to this type of sport and the rules and all this stuff. So I don't know. It was just proven that the NFL players can't just come in and just walk all over them, which they thought they would.
Yeah.
So, but maybe for some key positions, I don't know. Quarterback, I don't think so. Maybe wide receiver, any of the running positions, not really.
Hey, what if JJ McCarthy goes and tries to play flag football? Maybe he does better over there.
What if he's a stud playing flag football?
Hey, you never know. He finds his
Oh,
calling there.
poor JJ. Hey, since we're talking about flag football, Aaron, why don't you talk about the UFL and some of the rules they got over there? Like we said, NBA Jam style.
NBM Jam style, yeah. I think the list got sent to the group, so maybe someone could refresh me. But
Yeah, let
some of the
me.
rules that they're doing for the UFL, like these are some of the ones that are interested. There's a bunch that are out there, right? But like, how would these
Inside the
translate to?
50,
Yeah,
no
Yes,
punting
inside.
allowed.
no, like honestly, right off the bat, I love that one. I think that'll be more impactful for the casual, like the casual fan, like myself, right? Like I'm a lifelong diehard NFL Seahawks fan, but some might call me casual too. And if you cannot kick any more inside the 50, like you got to go for it every single time. Like I just love the idea of that. That's one of the rules. How do you guys feel?
I'm telling you, that's how I play Madden football. I don't punt
Yeah,
usually. It's even
yeah,
even if I'm on my own 20, I'm not going to punt. So that's intriguing. I also think a lot of these NFL teams are much more aggressive now. A lot don't do that. They
yeah,
go for it. They go
Yeah,
for it. Now, when I was a kid, you rarely saw it. I mean, it was 4th and 1. Well, okay, we're going to punt, and you're frustrated as a fan because you want your team to go for it. But yeah, it's intriguing.
I kind of like it. I do think it'll make it more interesting, and it'll be make it uh, especially in those games where they're trying to play it safe. Now it's like you can't like you have to go
yeah,
for it, and I think it'd be good, but I could also see it being bad, in the sense that now teams are going for it, but then they don't do it, and now you got to get back on defense, and so I like it in the sense of the fan perspective, but I think if I was within the NFL, I'd be like, oh, that sucks.
The other one we have is a 60-yard field goal and beyond's worth 4 points.
Hey, really incentivize those kickers. I mean, you'd argue they're one of the most, or after quarterback, or they're the ones who put the points on the board. So in some circles, they're the second most important position on the field. You could argue. So 60-yarders. I mean, that would be wild to see. Just like, hey, 65 yards, we're going for the 4-point play right here, boys. We know if we get within 50 yards, we have to run a play anyway. So now we have a real crucial decision we're making. We're either trying to get a tutty from the 60-yard line or automatic 4 points with our amazing kicker. But that could be fun too, honestly.
I think out of all the rules that we'll go over for the UFL going to the NFL, I think this is probably has the most realistic shot of actually becoming at some point, because it's only a point difference from a regular field goal, right? So it's not that big of a difference, but it is big enough to like where teams will be like, okay, maybe we go for it now that we're at this, we got a 60 yarder or like Eden said, a 65 yarder. I think it's worth it if you're gonna get that extra point, because it could lead to um it could lead to a bigger thing, down the road. But it's also realistic enough where it's only a point difference from a regular field goal. So why not implement it? I think that one has a more realistic shot of becoming true at some point.
Totally changes the strategy, like you guys were saying. And that's how we play fantasy football, right? Like you progressively as you get out, the
Yeah.
50-yarders are going to be worth more than 3. I don't remember what our sleeper league is, but then 60 should be it's probably like 5 or 6 points in the league. I'll have to check to see what our settings are. But yeah, I agree. That'd be exciting. It's a totally different ball game now because we were down by 3, but we kicked the 60-yarder and now we're up by 1 to see how that goes. It would make Brandon Aubrey make more money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Can't wait for the
And then
plays where like they snap the ball at the 50-yard line, like, oh, it's not looking good. Quarterback just goes back 10 yards, takes a knee. All right, boys, we're going for the 4-point play.
we did it on purpose. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Doesn't look good. We drew that up in the dirt. The other one is only need 1 foot in bounds.
I love this rule. Like, I hate the 2-foot inbound rule looks amazing. And I think that's such a high skill cap, IQ, EQ level thing, the type of thing to do. But I also think it takes away from the great potential plays when there is 1 foot inbound. When someone catches the ball, for me anyways, you caught the ball. 1 foot inbounds, that's all I need to see. Like you got part of your body inbounds with a catch. Like the controversy on these catches that we're getting more and more lately, it's getting out of control for me.
This is one of those rules where I'm okay if it happens. Like I'm not gonna say I love it, but I'm not gonna say I hate it. Like I wouldn't want to see it. Like I'm okay if that happens, but there's something about those 200 catches that you didn't like. Even sometimes in live play, you don't see them, bring the second foot down, and until you see the replay, you're like, oh my god, he actually got the foot down, and that's what
Yeah,
makes
toe
you
tap.
kind of like, wow, yeah, like that. As a professional, and you think of professional athlete, you think of those awareness, your skill to, that combination of everything to make sure you stay in bound. So to me, like, as if you're thinking of a professional athlete, it's combining the skill with the IQ. And when they do that and they're able to bring that second foot down, to me, that's like an art, and that's like something that, as a, obviously I was gonna say a normal human being, but I mean, we're all normal, obviously, but as not a professional athlete, I admire that because, could I go out there and do something like that? Maybe, but what's the realistic point? Probably not, right? Because these guys train, they have the IQ, they have the skill, they have everything. So to me, it's like an art form that you see them, perform these type of plays. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it happen where it's just 1 foot and you're in bounds. But I do think it takes a little bit away on the aspect of the art of football per se.
And I'm not remembering, is college still 1 foot, or is it it's still 1 foot?
I want to say it's 1 foot. Yeah, I want to say
College
it's
is
1 foot.
1 foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't see
wouldn't
like
have.
the difference
Go
between like someone when they dive into the end zone though too, and like just touch the football in, like that's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
the same as me as like not
Yeah.
having 2 feet in bounds. So like it's around the same
It's
vein
true.
to me.
Fair point.
Yeah.
That's true.
I wouldn't be sad if they did that. I don't think I would be upset or excited if they did that one. You'd have more catches for sure. It'd be more offensive games, you would think. And then one other one, 3-point play after a touchdown from the 8-yard line.
So that's another option, or
That's
that's
rules,
like
yeah.
just okay.
Yeah, another option. So instead of a 2-point conversion, where is the 2-point conversion then? I don't know.
It's close.
From
It's close. Like at the 3 or 2 or 3
Okay.
or something like that, right? It's close
So
up
yeah,
there.
so you have the kick for the 1, the 2-point conversion option, and then the big play 3-point conversion.
I'm gonna fact check myself.
the 8. I mean, I think it depends because I don't know where the 2-point conversion is from, but if it's like from 5, that makes sense. But if it's from like
2-yard line.
the 2-yard line to the 8-yard line, that's a big difference for 8 for 8 points, for 3 points. Like an extra point to go back 5 yards or 6 yards.
Yeah, but that's 9 points that you're looking at now,
of that one.
right?
It's true.
And that does change it quite a bit.
I'm not a big fan of this one.
Well, that's where you'll see from the 2-yard line, if there's a penalty, they'll move it up to the 1-yard line. A lot more teams end up going for it. Like, oh, we're not going to kick anymore. We're going to go for the 2-point conversion. It's interesting. I'd be so confused with all the different options you could have, but it totally reminds me of NBA Jam. If you shoot from here, it's these points. I could jump from the 3-point line, do like quadruple flips. I got fire coming off the ball.
I'm pretty sure, didn't the NBA do something like that too? And not last year, but the year before, their All-Star game, like they had certain spots on the court that were worth a 4-point shot.
Oh, I think you're right.
On there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But see, I don't know, and I don't know if this isn't an NBA podcast, but I never liked that because I feel like the fact that the NBA shoots way too many 3-pointers now kind of ruined the league, in my opinion. Because there's no defense. You can just shoot from half court and drain a shot, when back in the day that was not really heard of. I think everybody now just practices threes, and it's seeing it. You got AAU teams shooting threes, that's like their strategy. And I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. So if they implement a 4-point plate to try to quote unquote save the league or whatever, I don't think it's going to be a benefit, because you're already seeing the fact that not that many people are dunking. The dunk contest sucks now because nobody likes it. It's not enjoyable. And now you got an extra point for shooting from somewhere even further. Like, I don't know. It's not, I'm not a fan of that.
Is Steph Curry the godfather of why everyone wants to shoot threes now? Is he the original?
Well, a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
think it's him. He does shoot a lot of threes, obviously, and that's like his trademark. But I don't know if you guys remember Mike D'Antoni, the coach of the Suns.
Yeah.
He's actually the guy that basically came up with the aspect or the idea or the concept. That's the word I'll look for, concept. That if you shoot a certain amount of threes, it's the same equivalent as you shooting a mid-range jumpers or 2-pointers or whatever the case is. So his philosophy, and he had a thing called, what was it called? 7 seconds or less. So their point was, as soon as you get the ball on either an inbound or rebound, you have to shoot within 7 seconds. So
Layup or three.
that means either layup or three, exactly. So they pushed this tempo, and it worked for the Phoenix Suns. If you think about it, they had Nash, they had all these guys that could shoot threes and dunk and do all these crazy things, and they were the 1 seed for the longest time. So he showed a lot of, that translation of chucking up as many threes equals as many twos, right? But you got to make them, obviously. But now I think that evolved the game a little bit. And then obviously Curry, I think, just took it to that next level. But the original quote unquote credit or the concept of it kind of came from that system from D'Antoni. And I think he got it from someone else too in Europe.
D'Antoni often had the mustache, right? That was
He looked like the Pringles guy.
Yeah, there you go.
It's inspired. It was his idol. All right, guys, you gotta let's do some get to know your playmaker questions, and then Roski will close us out with a ghost story or two. You got anyone have a question locked and loaded? I do have one, but if you guys have one, I'll let you go first.
I got one because we kind of talked a little bit about it. Well, Chris, you kind of did. But if you guys were to play football, like professional football, if you guys had the skill and everything, what position would you like to play?
I'd go linebacker. That's where I think originally when I was younger, I was going to be offense because all the glory is there. But then as I got older and shutting somebody down, oh man, it feels so good. So I think linebacker where I went to high school, we didn't have tackle football. We had a flag football team. So that's what we played. But I mean, that sport's kind of brutal. Obviously tackle is worse, but I mean, all you have is a mouth guard. But we had people get hit and their teeth go through their cheeks. Pretty crazy stuff. But we played 7-on-7, I think. Well, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. But yeah, I played more offense than defense. But then in college, we had intramurals, and so I loved playing middle linebacker in college. That was fun because like you'd be able to knock passes down or get interception or something like that. But I'm going linebacker because I'm a diva.
For Pop Warner, like if things would have broke a little bit differently, I didn't get injured. You guys might be talking about me on this podcast, a wide receiver. So, wide receiver 1 is what I used to play. Yeah, like I was a two-way player, kind of like Hunter Henry. Travis Hunter Henry PTSD. Travis Hunter.
Hunter Henry, man.
Yeah, I was like, oh god. But wide receiver.
You're seeing ghosts.
That's why, you always hear me complain about the wide receiver position, right? Because it's a dependent position on my quarterback, and I depended on my quarterback, and they couldn't get me the ball, so I failed because of them, not because of my own poor prepping or my athletic skill I didn't have. It was all on that person.
Yeah, not you.
Absolutely not.
I agree.
Absolutely
Blame
not.
your teammate.
For sure.
Well, I would have loved to have been a quarterback because obviously I mentioned I like to play soccer, right? And that's like my number one sport. And I've always loved passing. Like I have a thing where I can and you talked about Madden, how in Madden you have the quarterback vision or whatever it's called, that you have the little, I feel like that sometimes, like when I play soccer, like I have I see those venues or those little windows of if I get the ball through there, that guy's by himself, right, one-on-one with the goalie, right? So I have that sort of vision per se in soccer. So I would love to do it in football, but I can't throw football. I suck at throwing footballs. I don't have an arm for it. I mean, I can do short passes, but if I was to, throw a bomb, I probably can't. Not probably, I can't. So I would love to be a quarterback, but I think realistically, probably like a running back. I think there's something about, seeing those openings, running through those, those gaps and catching the ball. I like to obviously I think I could do that, but I don't think I would be as good as just a receiver. But I think a running back would be my thing. But if I could learn how to throw a football, good distance, I think I would love to be a quarterback.
Well, and on many podcasts ago, if you got enough likes, you were going to try out to be a kicker. So,
That too. Hey, but see, we're talking about a dream, right? So I don't think I would dream to be a kicker,
No.
But if I had the opportunity to be a kicker now, like in actual real life, I would try it. I
awesome.
don't think it's obviously I can't say that's not difficult, because obviously I'm sure there's an art to it. And I've kicked field goals just for fun, but I've never done it like in a setting where someone's rushing at you and trying to block it or whatever the case is. But I wouldn't mind trying. I still stand by it. I don't remember how many likes I said, but if that video, or even if this video gets to, what did I say last time? I don't even remember what I said. Was it 200?
Something like that, or 500 or something. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, we'll lower it to 200. If you clip this part, if it gets to 200 likes, even if it's the short, I'll still go try out to be a kicker somewhere. The Rams needed one, so
I'm gonna convince the commish that our draft order will be determined on field goal kicks. I think that will be fun.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
I'm down too.
That's cool.
We just need a majority vote to do it.
Right?
So whoever makes it from the furthest, right, gets to choose their draft pick, maybe?
Their draft position?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
That sounds good to
And
me.
then one day if we take the pod live, that's what we should do, Aaron. We'll rush Roski. So see if he can make the kick.
See if he can do it.
I get a helmet, though. I don't need him blasting a football in my face. All right, cool. Aaron, you got a question?
Let me see here. Question. Who do you think I'll be a lifelong fan of this year at the end of this football season? If you had to pick right now?
No, I don't think it'll be the Seahawks.
No?
I don't think so either.
No. I think it's still going to be good, but it's hard to repeat. Lifelong.
I think my early favorite for next year is the Rams. I just saw a lot of good things. The only thing that makes me nervous is, like we talked about last episode, is the whole Puka thing. And now they did confirm they did try to trade Devontae. They talked about trading him. I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a report that they did shop Devontae, but they ultimately shut it down. So that was the whole reason why they were looking for AJ Brown and why they inquired on him. But I mean, they're running it back. They got better on defense with what's his name, McDuffie.
And Watson.
They're gonna have a couple draft picks. I know they don't have first rounder this year. Or actually, I think they might, because I think that's the one they got from Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the Rams have the best shot. So if I had to take a guess, I would say you're gonna be a local boy and say you're a Rams fan next season.
Lifelong, always since St. Louis. Let's go. Since Cleveland, actually.
Dolphins. Go in Miami. The Rams is a good call. For some reason, I just feel like, even though they didn't do much of anything this offseason so far, I just feel like the Chargers are going to come up if they can stay healthy. And just because of all the smack you've talked about Justin Herbert, just having to eat those words would be
poetic.
That would be epic.
Yeah.
Eat it.
So sweet.
I could use that as fuel. Like I caused this to happen. It was a motivation that team needed to get me to be on their wagon.
Justin needed your pep talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think the Rams are a good one. They were so good this year, and close to being in that Super Bowl, and they would have won. They would have beat the Patriots.
Oh yeah,
no.
Whoever came out of that series was going to be the champion for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. I think the Bears are on the up too. I mean, but they're not the same as the Rams, even though that game was close. They're just not yet. But the Bears are definitely ascending. All right, and then we'll do one question, and then we can go to Ghost Story. What's your go-to, I'll say, standard hot sauce that, is, so what do you got? You got Cholula, you got Tapatio, you got Sriracha, you got Tabasco. What else you got? Texas Pete. Some of these standard, not high end, $10 bottle hot sauces. But what is the go-to? You're gonna put it on multiple things.
Great. My bergamot caviar is off the table. It sounds like.
Yeah, you can't go with that one. How much is a bottle of that?
$2.50 an ounce.
Damn.
It's Cholula's goat status. That is hands down the best hot sauce you can get.
The
And I'm not saying
original.
hot sauce, yeah. I'm just saying flavor sauce because people confuse hot sauce with being hot. It's not hot, it just tastes amazing, right? It
Has
just
a little
tastes
spice,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Little
mean,
kick.
some people, I don't think it has a kick even remotely. It just tastes really good to me.
Do you
Cholula.
like the other ones too? So they have like a chili verde one, they got a chipotle one, they have
Garlic. Yeah, they got a bunch.
yeah, garlic, yeah.
I've dabbled. I get the garlic sometimes, but the original, the OG, is
Okay.
just the best. And the
The
commission
OG.
does not agree with me, but I'll give him a shout out. He says it's the best for breakfast burritos. Outside of that, it is not the best at all.
Someone just told me it's the best on eggs. I think it was the dentist. We were talking and somehow we started talking about hot sauce. Like, oh yeah, I love it on eggs. Interesting. Roski?
Have you guys ever heard of Valentina?
Oh yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's my new go-to. It's funny because before that, I used to really love Tapatio, but my wife was the one that kind of was like, no, this is way better. Try it. And obviously I had tried it, but I think so many years of just trying Tapatio that I was like my go-to. But then I started trying that and I was like, it's low-key better than Tapatio. And surely, sure enough, through time, I started digging it more. And now it's like, I like it more than Tapatio for sure.
So you get the OG
So,
there, or what label?
What's that?
Which one do you get? Because they have multiple versions too. Just the OG one?
Yeah, the OG one to me, yeah.
I've
but
only
I
had
don't
the
mind that.
original Valentina.
They
the
have
black
like a
label?
spicier one, but yeah, the black one I think is supposed to be spicier, and it is, but I do love spicy food. Like I love to eat spice, so to me that's not really that spicy. Like I have to drown it in that to feel a kick that's good enough for me. But yeah, I dig it. I think it's good.
So interesting. So same question with at the dental office. I was wearing a hot sauce shirt. It has I found on Amazon. It has the bottles of 2 Tabasco. It has Cholula. I can't remember the other ones it has. And so that's what got us talking on it. And so he shared it's the dental hygienist and then the dentist. He's like, oh, the dentist was asking him, how do you get your tuna to taste so good? Valentina was the hot sauce.
Oh, the key.
And so when the dentist came in to check out my teeth, like, hey, did you buy that Valentina yet? He's like, oh, not yet, but I'm gonna get it. So yeah, hot sauce making the world go round. I gotta go. It's gonna be nostalgic for sure. But I have in the house, and we got Sriracha, Tabasco, Tapatio. I don't have Valentina right now out of that. I don't think I have Cholula either, but I had 3 or 4 Cholulas, because I went and bought them. Years ago, I had my kids do the hot ones, but I just did a dabble, like a drop on a dino nugget, a drop on each one to see how they would do. And we did it twice because, my son wanted revenge on his sister. But he can't handle heat. She's a little spice head. But my dad's sauce was Tabasco. And so I've always liked Tabasco. I've had that forever. And then I just wanted to try all these other ones. So Tabasco is my go-to. But I will, that's a vinegar heavy flavor. So if you want that, but I want the original Tabasco for certain things. The green one, I like that. The Chipotle one's okay. But yeah, I just bought a second bottle because it's on sale. But I'll put it on. Sometimes I'll just put it on crackers, shake them up in a bag.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it could be anything. I also mix Tabasco with things. But yeah, that one's my go-to. But another hot sauce was on sale. This is a higher end. It's Truff. Have you guys tried that one it has truffles in it?
I have not tried that one.
So they have the original one, the black label, and then my daughter really likes it. So she burned through a bottle, so I bought another one, and then they had a habanero one, which is their hot one. But they have like a lime one, the bottle's green, they have a white one, so I want to check more of that out. But truffles are fancy, like Aaron's bergamot, $250 an ounce or whatever it is.
An ounce?
But yeah, I'm going to Tabasco. I had a buddy too. when I worked in a warehouse, he loved Tabasco. He would put on everything. So he would get a big old jug from the website. He put on ice cream, but his ferret was named Tabasco too. So
Did you say you put
I'm
it on ice cream?
yeah, he put on everything. So he would go through a jug a month, not
Whoa.
the big bottle, an actual jug.
Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, his stomach
Yeah.
probably hates him.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's like, I don't drink water. I drink Tabasco. All right,
That's
Roski, tell us
crazy.
a ghost story about it.
All right, I'll give you guys two mini stories again. So we'll start with, this is actually a story that my wife experienced. This is the same house that I told you guys about last week. So my sister's story, and then the one that my parents experienced. So when my wife and I first got married, she moved in with me there in that house. And so if you guys remember the layout of that house, you walk in, living room, right next to the left, on the left hand side is the stairs. You go up the stairs. Now I'm gonna take you guys up the stairs, this thing. And so you go up the stairs and you go into like a long hallway. In that hallway, there's 3 rooms upstairs. So those 3 rooms, it was the furthest, which is my mom's room, the middle one, which was my room, which is where we were living at the time. And then my sister's was towards the front of the house, like going the opposite way up the stairs. And so this one day, she got home from work. It was one of those days where it gets dark like at 5:30 ish. So she got home from work. I think I was still at work or something, but she would beat me sometimes. And so she got up there and she's going up the stairs. She opens the door to our room, right? And as soon as she opens it, she sees something white, like a probably like the size of my fist, go out of the room, go down the stairs, turn, and instead of like, again, the doors so to go to the front yard is this way, but if you guys remember, if you go straight across from that door, you go all the way to the backyard. So she saw it go down the stairs and go back out towards the backyard, right? And at first so keep in mind, she still had the cat that I told you guys that she had in Rosarito. So she had that cat still, and she thought the cat got inside the house, because we wouldn't keep the cat indoors because my brother-in-law is actually allergic to cats, and so we couldn't keep the cat indoors, so we would keep her outside. And so she thought the cat got inside the house, and so she's like running around like crazy. She went back downstairs looking for the cat, and she's like, oh, like my sister was like in the kitchen or something, and she's like, hey, I'm sorry, I think my cat got in here. And my sister like, no, I mean, I just came from outside. Like, hell, I saw her outside. Like, she had just come on inside. And I was like, what the heck? And so it's one of those kind of stories where, like I mentioned last week, that you don't think in the moment, but she started thinking back, and she's like, I didn't really see a cat. I saw like a ball, like a white ball, like a kind of like an orb type of deal, but it was like this size. And she just saw it again, leave our room, go down the stairs, and then go towards like the backyard. But she has no clue to this day what that was. She just called it like an orb, basically. She saw it again actually here in our current house. And it wasn't as big, but she said that it was like a split second, and she just saw it, and then it kind of like moved, and then it just like darted away. But we don't know if it's the same thing or what, but yeah, so we don't know what to make of that. Again, I don't say it's paranormal, but I mean, the fact that it kind of moved, and she said it was like floating, like just floating away, like going down and away. And so I don't know what that is, but the second story.
Before you get there, Roski,
mhm.
when in this house, was there ever a time where you guys noticed like a temperature change or any other senses that you're picking up besides like what you were seeing, you or your wife?
You know what? No. The only time I've ever experienced anything like that just felt off was that house in Rosarito that I was telling you guys, that the vibe just felt really heavy, like
Like as
a
soon as you
pressure in your
walked in, you
chest.
felt it?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, that house, when we first moved into that house, it wasn't like that.
Oh,
It
okay.
actually, as soon as we started talking about moving out, like it gradually started getting worse
Oh,
and
didn't want you
worse
to
and worse.
go.
Yeah, by the end of like when we're literally moving, like I just felt like what, like, you know, when somebody's staring at you, but think of it like a lot of people are staring at you, and like it's not wanting to for you to leave, and it's like this heaviness on like on your chest. I didn't see anything aside from those other stories that I told you guys already that happened over there. Aside from just that heaviness, I didn't see. I personally didn't see anything else. I didn't hear anything else in that house. But once we left, it was like a heavy vibe, like a heavy energy that to us we take it to like they didn't want us to leave, like you're ours type of deal, you know, type of thing. But not as far as like temperature changes or thing like that, not really. Like even other experiences, I've never felt like drop in temperature or anything like that. Not really. But I do hear that, you know, there is drops in temperature when there's paranormal activity around and things like that. But
I'm gonna have a question for you, Aaron, after Roski tells this second story. So I want to ask you first so you can think about it. How many encounters do you need before you're like, I'm out of here? I'm leaving this place. So that's my question for you, Aaron. Back to you, Roski.
Well, I had a question for you guys, but I'll leave it for the end. So the next, the next one, and this is funny enough, this is the only paranormal thing I experienced in New Orleans. So I went to New Orleans, like I mentioned in previous episodes. We went to watch the Rams and the Saints, but we made a trip out of it. You know, we went to different locations. We went to this place called Muriel's. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's basically a restaurant where they set a table for the owner, like the former owner who has passed already. They still set it up to his liking, and they leave it like that's his, like he visits us every night type of deal. I didn't see anything. I asked to go see the table, but they said yeah, but then they never came back and took us back to, because it was like in a separate wing of the restaurant. But the restaurant was awesome. It was delicious. But
So interesting, Scientology. My aunt and uncle are Scientologists. So when my uncle died, they had his funeral or celebration of life at the Scientology office in Sacramento. I guess in each of the offices around the world, they have L. Ron Hubbard's office, like a replica of it, in each place. But people don't use it. It's like almost like it's a museum. So it's just kind of interesting how he's the founder. So yeah, it's interesting to like, wait, what's, oh yeah, they have it at all the facilities. Like, oh, okay.
So yeah, and so in that trip, we did a ghost tour too. And it wasn't like a ghost hunting tour, it was like just a tour of like the most haunted areas of New Orleans. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard, but New Orleans is super huge on paranormal activity. They call it the most haunted city in the States. So we did the haunted tour. But the only thing that happened to me that I cannot explain is a day after, I think we went to dinner or we went somewhere. I thought it was after the tour that we did for the ghost tour, but I don't, my wife kind of said, I don't think that's when it happened. But, and Caesar, funny enough, was with me at the time. And so it was him, his wife, my wife, and myself. And we went to dinner. We got back from dinner, and our Airbnb was literally kind of by Bourbon Street, but in like a separate street. And in if you've ever been to New Orleans, you basically it's like a bunch of buildings, kind of like a mini New York City, but like way smaller, obviously. And so you have apartments kind of everywhere. And so the Airbnb we rented, they had like the door, and then you walk in, there's a hall, you go up the stairs, and there's two rooms, one to the right before you get to the door that, you know, of the Airbnb where we were staying, and then there's our door, which was just straight ahead. So we got there. Caesar and his wife went first, my wife was after them, and then I was at the end. So we walk in through the door. They go to their room because we're gonna go chill for a little bit before we went to go somewhere else. I forget where we were gonna go. Maybe it was a ghost tour after, actually. But anyways, so we walk in. My wife goes to our room, which was just straight ahead. And as I'm closing the door, well, actually, I close the door, and not even, God, it must have been not even 2 seconds. I hear a knock on the door, on the front door. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay, well, I didn't see anyone behind me when we were walking in, right? So I turn and I go look through the peephole, and it's literally a second or two after that happened. I looked through the peephole, and I was expecting to see somebody standing there, like kind of waiting, right? I looked at the peephole, there's nobody there. Absolutely nobody. And I'm just like, what the hell? I opened the door right away and I looked to the, the other door for the other Airbnb, and I'm like, there's absolutely no way that person knocked on my door, got down, went, closed the door in time for me not to see, hear, or, anything else. So I go back in, I tell my wife what happened, and she's like, you're kidding. Because obviously, we talked about New Orleans, we talked about the history, the fact that we are going to do that ghost tour still. And then I told Caesar and his wife, and they also could not believe it. They're like, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. And I don't know what that was, but somebody knocked the door, and maybe there's a ghost following me around knocking on stuff, but it was clear as day. If somebody knocked on the door, I looked at the people expecting to see somebody because it was that clear. Nobody was there. And that's the only experience I ever had there. I don't, even on the ghost tour, there were some areas where I felt like a vibe, but I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. And I was sober. Like I did not drink on that ghost tour. So I can't even say it's just, that was the only experience I had in New Orleans. But to this day, I don't know who that was. I do believe that none of my friends or my wife knocked anywhere. Because again, I heard it behind me and they were already inside. So I just don't know what that was. But it was a clear knock, and it was on the door that I had just closed.
I think Aaron's ready to go on a trip with you, Roski.
Hell no.
Hey, whenever you guys want to go, I'm ready to go.
You're over here manifesting it to happen.
Pretty much. Pretty
well,
much.
That's okay. So you guys have heard a lot of my stories, and obviously, when I first asked you this question, if you guys believe in the paranormal, I obviously don't anticipate that you guys have changed your mind on these stories that I've told you. But has it influenced you in any way to think otherwise? Because again, these are personal experiences that I've seen. Obviously, unfortunately, I've never captured anything on video or have recorded anything on a recorder or anything like that. I don't have any pictures or anything that can prove any of this, but these are all experiences that I either have experienced myself or again, through other people that have, my wife, my sister, and my parents that have told me these stories. Like, do you guys believe a little bit more now, or do you guys still feel the same way?
I kind of look at it like, do you remember when being like in junior high or high school and you had a really hot girlfriend who didn't live in the same city as you, and that's what you told everyone, and they never got to meet her or see it, but no matter how many times I said it to be true, I believed it enough times until everyone else
She got
did.
sick. She couldn't come.
Exactly. I'm slowly getting there with you.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Man. Oh man, I shouldn't have asked you that.
I think I mean, because my wife has the stories too, and so I don't think it's a no. There's things I'm skeptical of, but you hear so many stories, and you have tons of them. You probably have a whole lot more we haven't even talked about, and so, but you're not the only one, and so it's just, I'm more skeptical just because I haven't encountered it, but I also don't want to encounter it. Dude, if the glass and the shower would have broke when I was there when it happened with my wife, because I didn't know her at the time, I don't think. I definitely wasn't living there. I'd be curious what my reaction was. You know what I mean? In terms of
right.
Because when I hear the story, I'm like, I feel like my eyes are like bugging out of my head. I'm like, why the heck did you stay there? Why did you let me move in? It was like, they come on and hang out with this haunted house. No thanks. But yeah, there's just things I'm skeptical of, but I do believe there's people that are more open to things like that. They just have a different sense. So, I can't say that they don't exist. I just think some people don't see it or don't feel it or whatever. But
and I do think the moment you experience something and the moment you're kind of open to it, I think that you do experience more. And I
Sure.
truly believe that's the reason why I've experienced so much that I've experienced, because it's not like, and again, I mean, I've said it here that I wouldn't mind ghost hunting. I wouldn't mind doing that. But I've also said that I don't want to open doors because I have a daughter now, obviously, and I don't want to bring, because I do feel like things can latch onto you and there's energies as good as they might be. There's some that are really bad, right? So I don't want to open those doors either. But I do think that I'm more open to it, and I think that's why I've experienced so much. Um, and I still, again, I wouldn't mind doing ghost hunting, but there's levels to it too. I don't
With
think I'm gonna
caution.
do exactly.
Yeah.
And I think once you're open to that, you do experience things and you do start to hear things. You do start, but again, I still think in the logical side and try to debunk things. If I hear a knocking, I try to look for a source, right? And the stories that I'm telling you, I mean, I have a bunch of other stories, but there's some that I could say, oh, it was this, it was that. The ones I'm telling you guys are the stories that I feel like I can't explain. Like there's absolutely nothing that I can think of. I went to go look, I explored, different things that could have been it, and it was not it. So these are stories that I just cannot explain. Were they paranormal? Maybe. Were they not paranormal? That's also a possibility. It could have been, the speaker that went off the other day that I mentioned. That could have been somebody that connected to my Bluetooth, wanted to play a prank and raise the volume. But who's going to be doing that at 3 a.m? You know what I mean? Like, and it was a weekday too. It wasn't like a weekend. So it's just, I do think the moment you experience things, you kind of open that door and you do kind of start to experience more. Now, if you're not open to it, like let's say you do experience something, but then you kind of just downplay and kind of not paying any attention to it, I do think that you just kind of move on with your life and you probably still won't believe in things. But I think the moment you kind of pay attention to it, I think you kind of attract some of that energy per se.
Yeah, makes sense. I changed my question. So as we wrap up, have either of you watched on Netflix The Haunting of Hill House?
Yeah.
I have.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it
Oh,
was
it was
pretty
good.
good. It's one
Yeah,
of those
I like
series
that. Surprised me.
that surprised me. Yeah, because I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. It was really good. I liked that. I enjoyed it.
I don't think I had heard about it, and so it was my wife and I were like scrolling, and we both like scary movies. And I'm like, hey, what about let's try this out? And then after that first episode, we were hooked, and I think
Hooked,
we
yeah.
burned through probably like 3 or 4 episodes real quick. But everything Mike Flanagan has put out since then, I've watched. But The Haunting of Hill House is my favorite because then I think they did The Haunting of Bly Manor, and then
Yeah.
he's done a couple other ones. But
Mhm.
yeah. All right, gentlemen, last words before we say farewell.
I do
Let's
got
get to
one
those
kind
200
of football
likes.
related. I'm a there you go. That too.
There you go. We want them.
Did you guys hear the Jets head coach Aaron Glenn, when they got Geno back, he said he's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land.
Hey.
I could just think of Aaron Glenn dancing on the sideline, whatever he was doing, and yeah.
I mean, unless he meant the number 1 pick in next year's draft, then yeah, that's the promised
That
land.
is the
but
promised land.
That's what he was talking about.
If he really believes Geno Smith is the answer to lead him to the Super Bowl, then that guy deserves a wedgie. For sure.
Mr. Glenn's looking to inspire his team and the fan base. They think he's crazy.
Definitely.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
See you next week.
Adios.
Sounds good. Later, fellas.